What, bro?
Bro, I'm not feeling I'm a good designer, bro.
Why?
Like, I'm not following a proper process what I have learned. Like, even my company is not following it.
You mean like you are sad because you are not able to follow a process?
Yeah.
I didn't understand. Can you explain more?
Bro, I also want to be known for following a process. Like, I want to learn all the process out there.
You want to be known for following a process.
Yeah.
I think you guys want to become certified experts.
Yeah.
Looks like you guys have decided to take a career of a mason.
అదేంటి బ్రో అంత మాట అనేసావు
I'll tell. By the way, what he meant is, why bro you said off such a big thing. Anyway, I'll tell that. But can you go and make a coffee for me?
Yeah.
Okay, go. Charan is always excited to make coffee.
Okay. Tell me, which flavor do you want?
What is this for?
These are the flavors we have.
Okay.
So which flavor do you want?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. How much sugar do you want?
Sugar, half spoon maybe. Like less than half spoon.
భయ్యా ఫస్ట్ ఇది లైట్
This spoon, like.
No. Like half of this spoon, not
Okay.
more than that.
ఓకే భయ్యా లైట్
And what is the connection? Like, do you really want coffee or do you want to make a point?
I
make the coffee.
I'll make multiple points, not just points.
Okay. Interesting. I thought you really wanted a coffee. Do you really want a coffee?
I want a coffee.
Okay.
One coffee for me.
Okay. And how strong do you want it?
Strong.
Strong. Okay.
Yeah, quite strong. Bro, come here. See, firstly, we need to talk about this thing called value creation. Okay, I'll explain. So tell me one thing. Firstly, do you want to be a money-minded person or not?
No.
You don't want to be a money-minded person.
No.
Why are you working? You can just be happy. See, firstly, you need to understand one thing. Being money-minded is not wrong. Okay? All of us are money-minded. Wanting to earn money through unfair means, that is wrong. Just because we have been told so many stories and the way, all of like a lot of movies and all this stuff, we just start thinking that making money itself is wrong. That's not the point, right? We should want money. Like we should never feel like working for free is like, doing something great. No, we should always want money. That means we should always want to create value and get valued. Correct? How do you make money? Why is your company paying you?
I'm giving the value.
Yes. So that means your company, let's say your company is like a SaaS product.
Yeah.
Now, how are they making money? They're getting subscription. They're like either doing sales or something like that. They're making money, right? Now, to make that money, they are having you as an employer, right? Employee, right? Now, that means you are doing something to create value for them, because of which they feel that they have to value back, because of which you are making money. Correct?
Yes.
Right? So that means you need to understand one thing. If you need to make good money, that means you should really, really focus on creating very good value. Correct?
Yeah.
Should you become more valuable for your company, that's what you should do. Yes. Correct? Let's do one thing. Okay? So let me explain this by, let's look at some of these clothes. Okay? So let's say you want to go and hire a maid. Okay, I'll tell you how these clothes come into the picture. Let's say you want to hire a maid. Okay, now how would you hire a maid for this house?
So I'll see just like how she will make my problem solved.
Okay.
Like whatever I am not doing.
Okay.
I just want her to do and clear my.
Correct. So let's say these clothes are there.
Yes.
Like as I hinted you, let's say clothes are there. Okay. See, firstly, there are two types of maids. Okay. So for example, there is a maid who will be like, okay, fine, whatever instructions you give, I'll do. Just wipe all the floors, wipe the floors and go away.
Yeah.
And we are very irritated about those kind of maids who just simply do what you ask and nothing else.
Yes.
Correct? But let's say these clothes are there now, right? They are over here. And one good thing about our maid, what she does is, if she finds clothes like this, she'll sort them and put them. And we appreciate her for that.
Correct.
Why? Because what she does is, she tries to go and understand what our situation is She understands where is that we actually need her to save our time, right? Even if the house is not cleaned in a perfect manner, she knows that is not what we are valuing. What we are valuing is we are all into so much work and all that stuff. Now we did not have a lot of time and thinking about where to put these clothes. So clothes are kept over here.
Yep.
So how is it that I can add value by just doing some small task, but it is creating a great value for them, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we have retained her and also giving paying her well and all that stuff. And on top of it, if you remember from last few years, we have had her and we have not even replaced her also,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
So that means what you need to understand, and that too, this is for a maid.
Maid. Yeah.
Someone whom we traditionally believe is someone who will just simply follow instructions.
Yeah.
Whatever is said, you have to just do. That is what we believe a maid should do. Even for someone like a maid, if you are able to value this, because of understanding us, right? You need to understand where does value really lie. Okay, you're getting the point?
Yeah.
Okay, park that point. Brother,
Yeah, only
ಏನು ಕಾಫಿ ರೆಡಿಯಾ ಏನು ಬಾ 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 ಹಾಂ ಓಕೆ ಕೆನ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸಮ್ ಮೋರ್ ಫ್ರಾತ್
You can.
ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಓಕೆ ಜಸ್ಟ್ perfect, ma'am. It's actually good. Not just saying it for the sake of the video. It's actually good. See, why do you think I liked the coffee?
Because I followed a proper process.
What is the process you followed?
Like, basically, like I just put in some sugar, some coffee powder. I'll just add some.
Took milk, added everything, and you give. That's what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah.
You're
like,
basically
but-
saying you followed one standard process of making a coffee,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and because of which I am liking it. It's not making sense, right? You understand what I'm happening? What everyone who goes and watches YouTube or something, like everyone in the world, can follow that process,
Yeah.
right? But there is something more you did to actually make sure that I'm liking the coffee. What did you do? Can we just have one flashback of what all you did? If you remember, you asked me, should the coffee be strong or not? Right? How much sugar should I add?
Yeah.
And I also disturbed you and said, I need more froth.
Yeah.
Right? By asking all these things, you made sure that, in fact, you asked me about the coffee powder as well.
Yeah.
Right? You made sure that coffee is according to my preferences. Right? On top of it, you know me from a long time, and you made sure that, like when you're mixing the coffee and all that stuff, you made sure that this coffee is going to be right for me.
Yeah.
Right? Now, just for making a coffee, you are thinking so much about the person whom you are making a coffee for, so that this becomes important for me, this becomes good for me, and therefore this is becoming valuable for me. Right? And obviously, I can say that you are hired for being a permanent coffee maker or whatever, like that, right? But that's the point. Would I just ask anyone else to make a coffee? No, I would want you to make a coffee. Not that I really wanted to make a coffee. Like what I'm trying to say is, it's because, not just because you followed a process, but you knew how is it that you can take that process and make it in such a way that it becomes valuable for me. Right? What really happens is, many times, we think that merely following a process will give us results. That's a big misconception.
Okay.
Right? Those who made coffee, let us say, like whoever made coffee previously, they were like, hey, you know what? This is the summarized way of however I made a coffee. Therefore, this is what are the steps which I have to do, and they have written it.
Yeah.
Right? The way we need to take it is, okay, this is a guideline in which a coffee can be made. But what did you do? You try to apply your own brain and try to understand how is it that you can own the process. Right? Not follow it like a procedure, but own the process in such a way that it creates value for me. Right? Now let's just think about design industry or a company or where you're actually creating value. We were talking about value creation, right? Now, in the example of a Maid, in the example of this coffee, we clearly understood that you create value by going and understanding what their business is, or whom they're actually solving problems and doing business to, or their users. When you actually go and understand them and you try to do whatever you can, right? Forget about following standard steps. Using your own brain to actually do things in such a way that it actually helps the users or customers or your business. That is what makes you valuable. Right? Not just merely following a process like a textbook. That doesn't make us valuable. In fact, that makes you someone like a very replaceable person. Because everyone can follow processes, right? It's like a standard template. Everyone can take a standard template, and everyone, it's very easy to replicate it, right?
Yes.
The industry, I'm telling you, is fed up with these kind of people who just simply think that doing UX design is just about following a bunch of processes like a standard procedure and simply thinking that results will be delivered out of it. It just doesn't work like that, right? In fact, it has come to so much extent that we have to tell people that please do not follow the process. Like, keep the process out is what we'll have to tell people. Okay?
The last time I went for an interview, they asked me the process, what I followed.
Okay, good. Very good. Okay. This is where a lot of people really get confused and really have a great misconception about this. Right? So whenever a company asks you, hey, you know what? Please explain the process which you have followed. They are not asking you, did you follow a standard procedure? Did you follow a standard process? That's not what they asked you. They asked you to tell what is the process you followed to get there.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Many people actually make a mistake over here. Because they just think, just because they use the word process, they expect that, oh, looks like there is one standard process by the book. Only if we follow, we become valuable. Right? So I'll have to destroy all the thought process I have, all the creativity I have, all the way in which I can understand the people and the situations and everything. I need to put all that aside, and I need to become this robot who can have the memory of all the processes which are there over there and follow everything like a very textbook manner, right? And only when I do that, I'll become this perfectionist. That's why I was sarcastically saying, right? You want to become those certified, perfectionists, experts, right? That's the point. So many people have this misconception. See, whenever they ask you a question, what is the process you have followed? What they want to understand is, you are showing me a result. Tell me, how did you get there? They're asking you for what you genuinely did, right? For example, let us ask you, like, hey, how did you make a coffee? What he has to actually tell me is not about whether he followed a standard process to make a coffee or not. That's not what makes it valuable. It's like, you know what? I really understood, do you want a strong coffee or not? I knew that you need thick milk. You don't want water. He didn't even ask me that, but he knew that about me, yes. Right? Most people from Telugu states, I think, prefer coffee like that. But that's the thing. So that means he knew me, he empathized me, and basis that he can explain that how is that he made coffee. So whenever someone asks you about what is the process you have followed, what you need to talk about is what is that you genuinely tried to do to understand the problem and the business and the users at that particular point of time, and how is it that, for a lack of better words, I should use the word called hack. How is it that I hacked out of the situation, coming out of the ambiguity which is presented in front of me, and I gave clarity to the situation by helping everyone over there. And there's one more big misconception people have. That is, you just said, right? Initially you said your company is not following processes. Yes. And because of which you are saying that you might not have a great portfolio because your company is not following a standard process.
Yes.
This comes because a lot of people have this misconception thinking that they should not be in any ambiguous situation. They think that everything needs to follow a standard procedure, everything needs to be set, and I need to get that input like a manufacturing plant. I need to manufacture some cement, give me the input of this sand and this particular thing, and from there I'll just follow a set of standard procedures, and then I'll get the result. This is what we think, right? Exactly opposite. Because if everything is set, Why do they need you? They can just literally have a robot. And in fact, these are the kind of jobs which will get replaced tomorrow by robots, right? They need you because you are a human who can handle the ambiguity. As a human, you can understand humans, empathize with them, empathize as all the business as well. And when I say empathize, it's not just about following some standard processes to go and do some research, primary research, secondary research. Using all this jargon is what they want. In fact, when you use this jargon, they'll feel that you're wasting their time, right? Yeah. All they need is, okay, this is my situation. This is the ambiguity we are in. We are not able to solve this. As an expert, listen to this word. An expert is someone who can deal with the ambiguity. You're in an ambiguous situation. You don't know how to move forward, or not, steps are not very clear, right? And you know what? Don't worry. I can take you forward from here. Things are not very clear. Problem is not very set. We don't know who the users are properly. We don't know what kind of ideas we need to work with. No problem. I'm there for you, right? I will go and understand things in a much better manner within the time constraints which I have, and I'll solve the problem for you through my skill. That is by going and giving multiple explorations out of it, by going and doing multiple experiments from this. I'll do all these things and I'll create value so that you need not have headache. And when they ask you, when you go to an interview, when they ask you for a process, all they're looking for is this story. Remember this word called story. They want you to tell a story of what you did to actually go from that ambiguity to the clarity to create value. And that is what they mean by a process. Right? What is the process you follow? It means explain what all you have done.
Yeah.
Right? And what is the thought process you had? The worst part, the irony is, even for thought, we attach the word called process. It's supposed to be very organic in nature. But what it all means is, how is it that, what is your story? And that's why a lot of mature designers, when you attend their interviews, they'll stop asking you, they stop even using the word called process. They'll say, can you tell me the story behind how this happened? Right? And the thing is, what you need to work on from now onwards to become a good designer is not worry about following great processes. But how is it that you can take inspiration from, all these processes, it's not that they are not going to work or anything like that. Let's say there is a double diamond process. It's not written just because you will just follow it makki. They've written it as a framework after experimenting a lot of stuff, and people have written it like a guideline. When you let us read about double diamond process, the mistake which we do is we just take the diagram out and see how do we force fit the diagram into the work we have done. That's not what you do. That's why it's become very important to read books. You need to go and understand the stories of how people have impacted businesses, and that how they impacted is explained through a diagram called this double diamond process. That story is what should inspire you, not just the process in itself. Right? You need to take that and you need to build these stories. Build the stories. You need to work towards this. Right? And that is what will make you a valuable designer tomorrow. Right? Work on these stories. Create opportunities where these stories are. If you're in a very ambiguous situation, if you feel that nothing is coming properly to you, you're in a very good situation because you can have an amazing story. What is the last movie you watched?
Kalki.
Kalki is the movie you watched.
Yes.
Correct? You like the movie?
Yeah, I like it.
You like the movie. Is it because everything is sorted for Prabhas? No. Right? He was literally living in a place where things are like, he was living in a post-apocalyptic world where there is no water, there's nothing. There is ambiguity. There is no way, he has no clue how he is going to reach that complex or whatever. He doesn't even have any work over there, frankly speaking, right? Yeah. That is what it made it a great story. How is it that the person dealt with that kind of ambiguity? And how is it that that person hacked through multiple things, understanding the people around, empathizing with them, right? And doing multiple things and went to a good stage. That story is what made Prabhas a hero.
Interesting.
Yeah. Right?
Yes.
So, can you build these stories for yourself? Working on these is actually about working about your portfolio, because portfolio is not just a document which you are showing. It is you. You should be the living portfolio. And the document is just a small representation of what you are. And when you go and present this document, your story comes forward. When people ask you the question, your story of how you solve this ambiguity comes, and that's when they understand that you are a valuable designer. Because interviewing is all about building trust. whether they trust you to be a valuable person who can work for our company. So now tell me, do you believe that you have created value to your company?
Yes.
Yes. That means you are a good designer.
Yes.
All you need to do is understand how is that you have impacted through your own skills and build that story. That is your process. Right?
Yes.
Right? And then what you can do, you can go backwards. Hey, you know what? For this particular project, you know what? There was a lot of random ideas which came. What I did is, I kind of went and thought about a lot of ideas, but we went on a drawing board. I asked the tech team, I asked the product manager, and we finalized and prioritized a bunch of ideas which we can implement in the next quarter. Right? So what you did, you came with a lot of ideas, and then you converged. You diverged to multiple ideas, and you converged to 2 ideas. You go back and look at a textbook term, what this is called. What is this called? Do you know? Double diamond. Right? You are doing it. You have actually done it. There are multiple times you have done it, but you just did not even realize it. And that's exactly how it is supposed to be. Right? To explain it, you can use a term and make it easier for people. But do not take it backwards. Oh, you know what? I have a double diamond. I need to follow it. When the process requirement comes, I will follow it. Then what are you doing? You are basically acting like that maid who will only follow instructions but cannot understand us. You want that person to go as fast as possible. You got it?
Yeah.
So you are a good designer.
Yeah.
You are also a good designer. Become a good designer. And even you.
No, this just reminds me that the previous vlog which you did, the cafe experience one, like you were explaining
Yes.
how should we build for experience.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that just reminds me of my misconception of following a process, because I want to give an experience to the user. I shouldn't go
Correct.
and follow a process.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
whatever you said just opened my mind, saying that not follow a process, give experience to the user.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I hope this has become a very, very important message. Though we have tried to deliver it like a skit and we did all this, but we did all this because we wanted to clear this very big misconception which is floating around. So if you loved this, please share this message to others as well and discuss about this with others. Please comment about any of those genuine questions which you have, in all the misconceptions you have related to UX processes and all the formulas and templates which you think that people expect you to follow. I'm happy to help you out with those answers and even make more videos with that.
So finally what you are saying is, ఎవడి మాట వెనకు.
Let's actually do it. Let's do it. Okay. ఎవడి మాట వెనుక. అరే ఫస్ట్ డైలాగ్ ఏమంటుంది రా? గుర్తుపెట్టుకో. చూడు, గుర్తుపెట్టుకో, నీకన్నా తోపెవడూ లేడు. ఎవడి మాట వెనుకు, ప్రాసెస్ అని చెప్పేవాడు అసలు మాట వెనుకు.
If your aim is process, if your target is process, aim for the experience.
కాట్ ద ప్రోడక్ట్ అదిరిపోవాలి. చల్.